Ghost in the Hostel. I went to uni in South Africa and I lived in a flat that was next to the hostel. The Radisson actually. My light would every now and again switch itself on and off, which I figured was an electrical failure. But the creepiest would be if I left the room for a few minutes and came back to find the light on or off. Like even the switch would be pushed down. I used to sleep with my curtains open. One day, I woke up to go to the bathroom. It was very late, like 3 a.m. My room was across the restaurant. I saw a man walking across the restaurant in a taxi, and I was like, odd. There weren't usually any people up there at night. I come back from the bathroom and I see him walk past again, in the same direction. At this point, I feel a little uneasy. I scoot closer to the window. Please note, I'm in the dark while the restaurant lights are on, so I can see this person, but they shouldn't be able to see me. The person again passes by, headed in the same direction. And now I'm really creeped out because I don't see them when they come back. It's as if there are many people who look exactly the same, who are passing by the same spot. Anyway, the third time around he stops, turns and cups his hands around his eyes while looking through the window, as if he is looking right at me. I ducked, rolled out of my room, and spent the night in the living room. I won't lie and say I am a skeptic, but I'm definitely like Agni, ignorant. Like I never spoke about this while I lived in the place, because that would make it real. But after I left, I was like, that place must have been haunted, if hauntings are a thing. My first ghost encounter. I'll start by saying that this is not the only time I've had these types of experiences in my life, but it is the most significant. It was around 1989-1990. I was about 3.5 years old. My parents, 2 siblings, and I were staying at maternal grandparents' house overnight after some random family function. Godparents lived in southern Nassau County, Long Island, in an area from what I've been told was where the American natives and the colonists would have violent confrontations. If there was a conflict, it happened on those lands. Heavy, I know. Timestamp 3 a.m. I'm in a bedroom sleeping. To get an idea of the layout, the room is a 12 by 12 square. Bed was against the wall opposite the door. Sleeping on my side, facing said door. I woke up randomly, frozen. A few moments later, I see an apparition of a man walking rather slowly past the open door, pushing some type of cart or wheelbarrow, wearing what looked like a long bullock frock coat and a white brimmed hat. Maybe 6-ish feet tall, long hair, high cheekbone, facial structure. I remember these facial features and what he was wearing clearly, and I can still see it in my mind today. I am 35 now. When he got to the middle of the doorway, he stops and without moving the rest of his body, turns his head slowly and stares at me for 10 to 15 seconds before turning his head slowly back to face the front. Continuing on his way, walking down the hallway past my door. After this, I start screaming. My parents come into the room and console me until I go back to sleep. After the incident, I never told anyone about this, not even my parents, when it happened. I kept it buried in my mind until recently. I was on the phone with my mom and we were talking about something suspect. It reminded me of this experience, and I thought to myself, this should be the time to tell her. I tell her everything. Afterward, there was silence for a few seconds. Okay, she said, what you just told me, what you saw, your two aunts had experiences and described the same clothing and what he looked like. What? 1970. My one aunt is 6 years old. Randomly 3 a.m. She wakes up to someone lightly pushing her as if to wake her up. She thought it was my grandma. Says, Mom, what do you want? As she turns over and sees the same guy in the same clothing and same face, he was just standing there, maybe 3 to 5 feet from the bed, with no expression, just staring at her. She freezes for a few seconds, and once she starts screaming, he vanishes in thin air. 1980. My other aunt was alone at the house and staying overnight. She is sleeping in my grandparents' bedroom. 3 a.m. wakes up, opens her eyes, and sees the same figure, wearing the same clothing and same face, standing in the opposite left corner of the room, staring at her. She freezes, and without blinking, a few seconds later, he, from what my mom said, telepathically shifts to the opposite right corner of the room, staring at her. Again, after a few seconds, just vanishes. This aunt was how old I'm now at this time, starts screaming and telling it off. Who do you think you are? Etc. etc. She's crazy. Anyway, I kind of wrote my experience off as maybe sleep paralysis. But after what my mom told me, that hypothesis flew out the window real quick. And that's the end. And this story is 110% true and not made up. Creepy.